Okay, well, good morning, everyone. I appreciate you being on here for today's webinar. It's a matrix overview. My name is Keith Hensley. Many of you know me. I've been doing the training at the RIST office for either Fusion or ML Exchange back in the day, and now Matrix. So I'm very familiar with you guys. Stan Hartkey is online, so if he needs to jump in and answer a question that maybe I don't know, he's there. We do, if you could make a note, this is an email address, matrix@ristinc.com. It goes to Stan and myself. So that way, if you have some suggestions, comments, issues, problems, whatever, email us at matrix@ristinc.com, and between Stan and I, we can answer those questions for you. Some of the surveys that we've been getting about Matrix, some of them were, things like, why can't we have this? Why can't we have that? Well, that would be a good place to email Stan or myself with that. So if we haven't answered any of your questions that were on the survey, you might feel free to send us an email there, and Stan and I can answer that. And because we want to make this a great system for you guys, and we need input, we need feedback from you, and a lot of people have given us that on the survey, so we do appreciate that. So so definitely keep them coming and just email us there. All right. Well, with that said, this is the outline. We're going to start with searching, and then the results, saving a search, Hotsheets. Then we'll get into the client's portal, show you just a couple of adding and editing listing tips, comparative market analysis we'll get into near the end. And then we'll open it up to questions and answers near the end here. Feel free on the right-hand side, there's that toolbar. There's a questions section there where you can type in questions. And I'll try to keep them talking about the topic that we're working on here. Okay, so don't ask something that I'm not talking about yet, if you can help it. Okay, so with that said, let's go ahead and get into Matrix. Hopefully everyone already has been logging into Matrix. Hopefully I don't need to answer any questions on how to log into Matrix, but I'm going to start here on the home page. The first section I want to get into is searching, how to search for listings. So I'm going to go over the fundamentals and show you some extra little tips to help you search. So to get us started, I'm going to hover over the search tab up here, and like before in our previous systems, you can search for all these property types individually, or you can do a cross-property search. A cross-property search is all property types all together. So if you want to do a residential and condo and multifamily in one search, that's called a cross-property search. But for this demonstration, I'm just going to jump right into a residential search because that covers probably the most of us out here on how we search for listings. So on a residential search, one of the first things I want to get started with is a street name. I just want to jump right into street names here and show you how this works. For example, actually right before I do a street name, let me kind of start off by showing you price. If I type in a price of 100 here, and it says in thousands, and I leave it at exactly 100, nothing else in here, and I go to my results, you notice the listings I get are exactly $100,000, nothing more, nothing less. Well, the same thing happens if I type in street name here. If I type in Maple and I do my results, I get listings that are exactly Maple. Now you notice avenue, street, lane, drive, that's not part of the street name. Okay, the street name is Maple. And you can even see that I got South Maple Avenue. Well, because the street name is Maple. This is the address field. Address is a combination of street number, street direction, street name, and street type there. So just by typing in Maple, you only get listings on Maple. Now, like with the price, and hopefully everyone knows this, and I'll cover this again, if I type in 100 plus, I get listings with a listing price of $100,000 or more. And see, when I hover over that field, I get this little box that pops up, and it tells me enter 10 for exactly 10, 10-50 for the range, 10 plus for more, and 10 minus for less. So with numbers, I can do a plus, a minus, or a range and get more information. But when I go into street names, we don't use the plus or the minus here because it's alphanumeric in this field, where this is just numeric. So instead of the plus or minus, we need to use an asterisk. That is something that's very different from Fusion. And in Fusion and ML Exchange, we actually had operators like contains or starts with or equals there. Well, since Matrix is a mobile system where you can get it on your cell phones, you can get it on your tablets, and things like that, excuse me, we don't have those operators there for whatever reason. But because of this asterisk that I'm about to demo to you, there's an extra benefit that we can do now, such as townships, state routes. This fixes the problem with trying to search for listings on a state route or county road or things like that. So I'm going to demo that here in a second. So I understand that unless you've been taught, you wouldn't realize that you need an asterisk here. So what the asterisk is, if you put the asterisk on the side of the name that you don't know, such as at the end, this means I know it starts with Maple, I just don't know what it ends with. Okay, so now when I do my search, I'm going to get Maple still, but I also get Maplewood and Maple Grove and Maple Leaf and Maple Crest. Okay, so without it, I just got Maple, but with it, I got Maple plus a little bit more. So it's like the plus sign in a way. Now, if I put the asterisk at the beginning part here, that's saying, and I'm going to take out my statuses over here. What that is saying is that I don't know what it starts with. I know it ends with Maple, but I don't know what it starts with. So what that results here, if I go, I also get red Maple, or if I scroll down further, I might get some honey maple, things like that there. Okay, sugar maple, there we go. So that's what this means here. The asterisk at the beginning means I know it ends with Maple. We never had that option with Fusion or ML Exchange. We only had a starts with, contains, or equals. Now, if I put the asterisk on both sides of this, that means I don't know what it starts with or ends with, but I know it contains the name Maple. So this is the most inclusive. I'm going to get a lot more results this way. So if I go to results now, I'll get the maples, I'll get the maple woods, but I'll also get the red maples. And as you can see here in Sydney, there's a street called Tawawa Maplewood, where maple is not at the beginning or the end, it's in the middle. So that's why if you're really not sure or having trouble finding a listing, put the asterisks on both sides of it here. And if I scroll down a little bit, using the asterisks in subdivision and or township are probably really important to do because a lot of times they're spelled differently and things like that. And you notice the question marks here? As I hover over the question marks, it kind of tells me this. And if you read in the description here, the very last line, it says, if the full name is not known or the spelling is unclear, use the asterisk as a wildcard here. So it actually talks about it there. Okay, excuse me. So street name and subdivision and townships are probably the most common places to use the asterisk. Now, and I will show you the state routes here in a second, so bear with me. If you know a street is, let's say, Maple Ridge, but you're not sure if the listing agent spelled it one word or two words, let me show you a tip here. You can type in Maple Ridge one word, use this more button, and then you could type it in the other way, Maple Ridge, two words. That way you don't have to use the asterisk, because the asterisk would get you Maple Ridge, one word or two, but it would also get you Maple Leafs and Maple Woods and Maple Crest and all that stuff. So so this way is you're spelling it two different ways. You can also do this like First Street. That's not the only way to spell First Street. You can also spell First Street like that, first. Okay, so now I'm not sure if the listing agent spelled it first or if they spelled it first, but I can find it either way. So let's get into the state routes and county roads and township roads and all that good stuff. Well, remember the asterisk. I put the asterisk on the side that I don't know. Well, for example, State Route 68. Well, people can spell state route, spell it out, State Route 68, or they can do SR 68, or they can do ST period RT period 68, or ST no period RT no period 68. So the part I don't know is the first part. So I put my asterisk there, 68, and let me put my active in here. So what I'm going to do, I'll do contingent in here too. So with that, and I go to my results, look at what I get. I get US Highway shortened, abbreviated. I get to spell it out. I get SR. I get all those combinations there just because I put the asterisk before 68. And if you notice, all my results, they all end in a 68 here. Now, you notice a little bit more of a problem here. Not really a problem. It actually gave me too many matches, which actually is not bad because, you know, I'd rather have more than not enough results here. But watch this. Here's a little secret. You notice I got 368 in here, but I just wanted 68. Well, what comes before the 68 in 368 is a 3. What comes before the 68 in Highway 68 or State Routes 68 is a space and then 68. So if I go back to my criteria and I do an asterisk space 68, I won't get 368. I will just get 68 and problem solved. So that's something that Fusion and ML Exchange couldn't do that best, because the best we could do in Fusion or ML Exchange was a contain 68. And it would get 68, these 68s, but you'd also get State Route or County Road 688 or 368, things like this. But because of that asterisk, we can now successfully get highways and state routes, county road. So if I go back here and I want to do 25A, asterisk 25A. So if I go to my results here, County Road 25A, I'm going to take out my statuses here so I can get a lot more results here. And you can see right here, North County Road 25A, see all the different combinations here, but I got 25A. So hopefully that helps you, okay? So my comments, my feedbacks I've been getting on that, that's huge. People love that part. So hopefully that's already benefited from your time of watching this short webinar. I like to start off with something very, very informative there. Okay. So like I said, in prices, just remember you need a plus, you need a minus, or you need the range. Otherwise, if you leave it like that, that's exactly the match. Same thing goes with beds and baths. Now with baths, what you can do with baths is, if I want, and this is baths total, by the way, and then we got baths full and bath half. So you can search for just full baths or just half baths, but bath total is the combination of full and half combined. So if you haven't noticed this already on bath total, we are now saying 1.5 bath is 1.1, not 1.5. Okay, that is a change that we made. Hopefully you're going to like this change better, because what if a house has 2 half baths? Well, now you can say 1.2, 1 full and 2 half baths, where if we said 1.5, you wasn't really, a lot of people weren't really sure. Was that 1.5 or 1 2/2 or what? So I could have a client that wants 1 full and 2 half baths or more. So I could put my plus sign there. So that means they don't want a one full bath or even a 1.5 baths. They'll only take 1 and 2 half baths or greater. Actually, they want 2 full baths or more, but you know what? I asked them, I said, well, what if a house had 2 half baths? Would that be okay? Yeah, as long as it has 2 half baths, I'll take it, but not just 1 full and 1 half. It's got to be 1 and 2 halves. So so that's the new combination that we're doing for half bath or total baths is 1.1, 1.2, or 2.0. If I go in here and I say 2.0, 2.0 plus, that means 2 full and greater. Okay. Actually, I didn't have to do the 0.0 here. I could have just said 2 plus. I would have gotten 2, 2.5, 2 and 2 halves, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, and so forth there. Same thing goes with square feet. If I do 2,000, that means exactly 2,000. Plus means more. Minus means 2,000 or less. Or if I do my range, it does it that way. Same thing with year built, and same thing with acres. Okay. I'm really harping on that. I know a lot of you probably was like, I know, I get it and stuff, but some people just have a trouble understanding that because it is different. So I just want to emphasize that there. Now, if I go over here on my statuses, and if I pick a field, a status such as sold, you'll notice it put my date range in here, 0 to 180 days back. I can click in here and make it 90 days. I can click in there and make it 365 days. I could even do this. I can even type in 1/1/16. Now, if I leave it at that, I only get listings that sold on that one day. Just like price or beds or baths, I need a plus sign. I need a minus sign. Or I could do the range. January 1st of 16 dash and today's date, 12/9/16. Okay, I like the plus better. I think the plus is easier, quicker, and it takes you all the way up to today's current date there. You can even do the calendar. There's a little calendar right here. If you click on that, here's your calendar range, and you can go back. This is a month at a time, and this one is a year at a time. So you can just go back and get your date range. So you can go back to, I could have went back to January 1st. See today's date right here, December 9th, and click on December 9th, and now it does everything from January 1st to today's date, and hit OK, and it throws it in here. That happens on all these like pendings and expireds, because I probably don't want expireds, but I probably want not all expireds, but just expireds recently or something like that. Let me show you something else just in case. Let me back out here for a second. Whenever you go search and you click on residential, notice what happens. It automatically puts active and contingents in here. Well, let's say you find yourself taking out contingents all the time. You just want it to be actives. What you could do is not just, what you could do is if you like just actives here, you could come over here, see where it says criteria, map, and results. Well, underneath the results tab, there's this little settings wheel here. You're going to notice this throughout Matrix today. There's a wheel periodically throughout the system that if you click on it, you can set this starting default criteria as your default, or whatever I have currently set. By clicking on that, my default criteria is set. What that means is, if I go to search residential, you'll notice I don't have to take out contingent anymore, because I changed that default setting. I didn't like the way Risk told us we had to do it. I like it this way. And and there's several ways. You could say, you know what, not just contingent do I like, I also like to look for pendings. I also like to have, let's say, Clark County selected in here. most of the time when I do a search, it's always in Clark County, and I always want contingent, and I always want pending matches here. So what you could do is lock this down as your default. So once I've got it set the way I like, go up to our little friend, that little wheel, and whatever I currently have selected as my search criteria, use that as my default. And now it's set. So what that just did is, whenever I log in again and I do a search for residential, I don't have to pick contingent and pending, and I don't have to pick Clark County. It's already set for me. Now, this one time, I could take out pendings, and I could take out Clark County, but most of the time, I like it that way. So whatever field's on here, you could put your default criteria in there and then set it up here. I'm actually going to reset it back to the system default, how we have it there. So I hope that little tip there helps you. I will get into map searching here in a bit, okay, here shortly. If I scroll down with county, watch what happens when I pick All-Glaze County. Watch what happens down here under area when I pick Champaign County. Notice the areas are just the 300s and the 400s. If I pick All-Glaze County, it's just the 800s. Okay. If I go up here to Dark County, it's just that. If I pick Green County, it's just that there. If I pick Miami County, it's a parent-child relationship. You pick the parent, we'll show you the kids that belong to that area. Okay. Notice it didn't change the cities over here because some cities belong in multiple counties where the areas don't out there. So I just want to show you that part there. If I want multiple area numbers, I have to hold down the control button, and now I can select them all. If I select the first one and I hold down the shift key and I pick the last one, it picks everything in between. So the shift key, I can pick the first one, hold down the shift, and pick the last one, it picks everything in between. If I pick the first one and hold down the control button and pick the last one, it only picks those two. So the control button is just doing one at a time here. If I don't hold down the control button and I have several selected and I just pick one, then all the other ones go away. Now, you might say, you know what, I accidentally picked this one. How do I get rid of it? Because I'm clicking on it and it won't go away. Well, just hold down your control button and click it again and it goes away. Now you notice when you click something, that field becomes shaded. So if I scroll down a little bit, I can just tell there's something, I have picked something here because it's shaded. When I unselect it, you notice it's non-shaded, and that means I'm not using that field. So by leaving that field nothing picked in there, that just means I don't care, and it's just going to show me everything in whatever areas. Okay. So now if you're on your tablet or on your phone and you're picking these areas, you don't have a control button or a shift button on your tablets or on your cell phone. So that it works a little differently. Actually, it works, I kind of like it better there, because then if I click it, it puts a check mark. If I pick it, it takes the check mark out. I kind of wish it would work that way here without holding down the control button and so forth, but I have no idea why that is set up this way. My only best guess is that this is a mobile-friendly system, so that might be why we have to have the control button there. Over here on the right-hand side, we've got garage description. You'll notice that some of these fields we have or not, okay? Or here we have an and, or, and not. So what this means is if I say one-car garage and I say not, that means I don't want a one-car garage, but I'll take any other field in here. Just like over here, maybe if I say not and I pick area 011, that means I'll find listings wherever in the list area, but not in area 11. If I say or, that means I want area 11 or this or that field there. So the not means I could say not a one-car garage, not a carport, and not no garage. So that means, that's basically means I want something that's probably a 2, 3, or 4 or more car garage. So I did it the opposite way. I said, well, I don't want those. I could have left it on or and said 2 car, 3 car, 4 or more car. And that's basically saying the same thing there. I'll take one of those 3 options there. Now the and you notice it doesn't happen on a lot of these other fields here, especially area field here. If I say and, now it's got to be a 2 car and a 3 car and a 4 car garage, which probably won't happen too often out there. So that, let me give you an example here. This one here with the and, you could say a 2 car, and scroll down a little bit, and an attached garage. So now I'll find all the listings that have where the listing agent said that this has a 2 car and attached garage here. Okay, but just be careful about using the and, because it's only as good as what the listing agent said. There could be listings that have a 2 car and attached garage, but if the listing agent only said 2 car and they didn't say attached, I won't find it there. Okay, so so that's kind of a neat little tip there, but just be careful with that one there. Now if I say or, I'm getting a 2 car or attached garage. I could get a 1 car garage in here because as long as it's attached, I'll find it. I could get a detached garage in this search as long as it's a 2 car garage. So the or means one or the other here. Okay. Same thing goes with level style, foundation, cooling, and so forth here. Watch this on room type. I could say I want a bedroom, at least 1 bedroom on the first floor. Then I could say more here, and I could say I also want a, let's say, utility room on the first floor here. And Stan, if you're still here, I think we need to have an and or here, down here at the bottom, because I've seen that, because that way you could say I'll take a bedroom on the first floor or a utility room on the first floor, or we could say a bedroom on the first floor and a utility room. So we need to have Joanne add and or here. We don't need a not though, just an and or an or there. Okay? Okay, thanks, Dan. Thanks, Dan. So that's kind of cool there. So to take it back out, I just have to open this back up and go up to the top. There's a blank space here. So I kind of wish there was like a little eraser here. That's something I like to see, but for right now, that's not possible yet. So we'll put that there. And while I'm thinking about Stan and while you're making notes, notice when I click on expired, there's no date range here. I think we need 180 days back here like we did with solds. I think so. That's just me personally. And when I click on pending, I don't think there should be any date range here, because as long as it's pending, I'll take it. But that's me. If you want to leave that in there, we can. But I definitely think on expired. Not sure about mutual release, and I'm not sure about withdrawn. Withdrawn, probably nothing there. So I just want to bring that to your attention and see what you think and go from there. Okay. Now, if you're doing a search here and let's say you want to do a search and you want to use a certain field like special features or new financing, things like that, owner status. Well, you don't see that field in here. Well, if you come down a little bit below here, now I've already added some fields. Okay, I already added ownership, new financing, and special features. Well, down below where it says matches found, you have this additional fields, and it says add or remove. I'm actually going to come in here and remove these real quick. And hit remove. So when you come in here, like I said, you don't have them here. So you can go and add whatever fields you want to by clicking the add button. You can scroll down and find them, or just start typing in financing, highlight it, and hit the add button, that moves it over here. Then you could do features, inside, outside special. I'll just do special and move that one over. And what was it, ownership? I think these are some of the ones that a lot of people like to use, and if you don't know about them, this is another reason why I'm using it. So I got those three, and when I use my back button, those three fields will be down here at the bottom, and I can use them to search. And they will always stay here until I remove them. Fusion and ML Exchange, when you added these fields, they were just temporary, and you had to keep adding them over and over again out there. So these are permanent in here. So now, like special features, I can do bed or bath on the first floor. Actually, you can now do that up here. If I scroll down, there's a channel, there's lakefront properties, lake-related, lake view properties, pond, stream creek for those that live up near the lake. Ownership, bank-owned, auction, corporate-owned, things like that. Financing out there. Okay, and remember you got the and or not right here. So that's how you add new fields to your search criteria. Now I think this is a good time to get into the mapping. Let me make sure I didn't pick anything down here. Okay. Mapping. I love the mapping in Matrix. It's I liked it in Fusion. It was so much better than ML Exchange, but I tell you what, in Matrix, the mapping is so much better than it ever was in either of those two systems. So when I come in here, it says within 1/4 mile. Now, a lot of people see this in here, 0.25 miles, and they think, well, if I pick Champaign County, does that mean I'm finding everything within 1/4 mile of Champaign County? Absolutely not. Okay, these two are separate fields, and they do not tie together to each other. Okay, it's saying I want 1/4 mile of, and it's whatever I type in here. If I don't type anything in there, that means I don't want anything. I'm not using the map search because I left that field blank. If you leave a field blank, that means you don't want to use it. You're not searching by that. The system will just forget that field and go on to the next field where you did put criteria in. So, for example, if I say, let's say 2 miles of, and I do type an address, 1087 North Market Street. Now it's going to say, well, did you mean in Troy, Ohio, or St. Liberty, Indiana? Well, I'm going to say Troy, Ohio. What you could also do here, you could type in instead of an address, you can type in an intersection like North Main Street and Main Street, South Main Street of Troy, Ohio, and it would give you the intersection of that location. And you can also do a zip code or town. I think you can do just Troy, Ohio, and it'll center it on downtown Troy, Ohio out there. Okay. And you can also say my location. So if you're out and about, as long as you have your GPS on your tablet or on your phone or on your computer, it'll find everything based on where you're physically located at there. So I did 2 miles of an address. Now if I hit map search, there's my 2 miles of that address right there. Now what I could do is, oh yes, Danielle, thank you for your question there. Danielle said, can you put an MLS number there? Yes, you can. Yes, you can in there. I was thinking of, I knew I was forgetting something there. So yes, back here you can do an MLS number. Someone asked me, can you do a parcel ID number? And I haven't answered that question yet. You can at least try it and see if it'll take a parcel ID number. It might have to be formulated exactly, but unless, you know, I think a lot of appraisers know parcel ID numbers. So I think those are probably the ones that would use it the most, but I'm not sure yet of a parcel ID number. I think, I'm almost thinking you can, but I'm not sure. Okay, so there's my 2 miles of, and you can see all the active. Green is active and contingent listings. Pending are orange, sold are red. And if you don't know the color codes, you can click on this little legend down here, and you can see the color codes that we have here. and it kind of tells you different property types. See the house, there's a condo, multifamily, and stuff like that. And here's favorites and possibilities. That's a little bit more advanced there. And if you see a house, you can see when you hover over, it'll show you the address, beds and baths, and price. If you click on it, you actually see the house. And then when you see it there, you can select it right here. Notice how it changes that green to a check mark, or it takes it out. And you can actually click on that MLS number. And if you want to print this map, I would try it both ways. You can either do a right click here and try to save it or copy it. But if you come off of the map, not on the map itself, but just outside of it, see where on the map I have the hand off to the map, it's a pointer. But right here, if I right click, I should be able to save it or print it right here. So try that. Try it both ways, but I think it's best done if you go outside the map, right click, and then print it. It'll print what you see over here. There's also another way to print the map with the listings, and I'll show you that here in a bit. Now what's nice about this, if you come to the edge of the circle anywhere, grab it, you can move it in and make it a 1.5 miles, or 2 miles, 2.5 miles. I'll make it about 4 miles here. Okay, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit there. What you can also do is up here you've got a circle, a radius, you got a square, a rectangle, or a polygon. Now a polygon I like the polygon the best, because watch this. Let's say I want everything within 4 miles of this address, but I don't want anything on the west side of the highway here, because let's say it just changes different types of a neighborhood. So what I can do is I can do a polygon, because you notice the highway is not a perfect shape here. It kind of curves and twists. So I could click and click, and then I can just go on the outside, just click, click, click. Now, some of you might be saying, well, okay, I've tried this before, but how do I end my shape? Because if I keep clicking, it's going to get all over the place, and it won't end. And even if you double click, it won't solve it. So what you got to do is hover back and click on that red dot. That finishes it. Okay. Now, I didn't get the highway that fine. I got the starting point and the ending point on the highway, but now what I can do is kind of drag this over. I can even scroll in a little bit if I need to, and grab this and move it and get it right on top of I-75 there. And it's really pretty fun to do. So now you can be really precise. And you could have done this in Fusion. It was really tough to do, or a little slower. It wasn't as fun and easy to do as it is here. Now, I don't want listings on this side over here, but you're seeing that I'm still getting listings here because it's a light blue shade. If I hover back over that red dot, I can now say exclude this shape. If I say exclude, that now it changes to pink, and now you can see I'm not getting listings over here. And what you could do is, instead of the highway, maybe it's the river that I don't want any listings on the west side of the river. And look how different ways that river changes there. So now I can come over here and say anything west of the river I don't want. And you can just do as many points and turns on that river as you want here, which is pretty cool here. Okay. So it might take some time for you. Some people will love this. Some people are just not map people. I love maps, so it's kind of addicting for me to do here. So I'll stop. But that's how cool it is. And as you see it now, these listings drop off, and if I move it back, you'll notice they'll pop back in there. So I love the map part there. So there's my map shape there. Up here, so you can do as many shapes as you want, many twists and turns that you like. If you come over here, there's a broom that clears everything. But then if you notice here, next to the broom, to the right of the broom, there is a layers. If you come in here, you can turn on zip code layers, which now you can see the boundary lines of where zip codes change. You can city, county, school district. Let me do school districts here. Now you can see where Miami East and Troy school districts or whatever school districts out there. You can hover up this elementary schools, high schools, or middle schools. And you can do flood zones. Now you'll notice I don't like to do flood zones here because you have to zoom in for flood zones because it's in red. See up here it's in red, tells me to zoom in. What I like to do is after I get my results and I find a particular house, then I can open up the map for that one property, and then there's a layers up here and I can do flood zones here. That's where I like the flood zones at, okay? Because you actually map the property. But let me go back to the map here. And I'll get into that again when I get into the searching or the results part here. But I can do it, but I just have to zoom in really, really close. And now if I hover over, now I can do flood zones. So yes, I can do it here too, but I think it's a little easier on the other side here. And let me take that back out. Oop. Can I zoom in a little bit more? Yeah, let me take that back out there. Okay. That's the mapping search. We do have this jump to address, so you can type in an address and it'll take you right to it. You can open this up. You can say, you know what, jump right to Bell Fountain. Boom. Or jump right to Salina. Or jump right to St. Mary's. Or jump right to Urbana or wherever you like there. Now, when you first open up this map, you'll probably notice that the default map, I think, was like this here. Okay? It was looking at the Troy area. Well, let's say you work over here in Springfield and you want your map, you want your default map to be right here. Or you do most of your work up here in Urbana, or you do most of your work in Bell Fountain, or up by the lakes, Indian Lake or Grand Lake St. Mary's. Well, once you get your map set how you like it, maybe zoom in a little bit more, maybe zoom out a little bit more, but you've got it set exactly the way you like it to be most of the time. Remember our little friend here, that little wheel? It's up here at the top underneath results. If I hit this, I can set my map, whatever I have currently set up as my starting default map out there. And now every time I do my open up my map, this is the default map view, not what RIST had told me to do. So you can do that. Here I can restore it back to the default, and that is the default map, which I think that's kind of, I think we need to zoom in a little bit more on that there too. So Stan, if you're taking a note, maybe we can fix that, because I think it needs to be a little bit more zoomed in higher there. Okay, so we got the jump to address here, and we got some set up, and you can create your own default there too. Okay, I think that's a lot of searching. One last thing on searching is, and let me go back to the home page to demo this. We do have this searching, this little widget here on the home page. And by the way, if you haven't noticed already, you can move these little boxes around and put them where you like them at. We do have this search widget here. You can do an MLS number, street name, directions, such, and so forth. You can also switch this from a listing search to an open house search and do a search by open house dates. I don't use this one too much. I don't use this listing search. What I like to use is the speed bar up here. The speed bar is I can type in my own MLS numbers and do my search. Okay? And I can do as many MLS numbers as I want. And get the results down here. Okay, so that's one thing I like the speed bar for, is just do as many MLS numbers. Now, you can do a comma in between them or a space. I kind of like the space. I think it's a little easier than typing in a comma there. Instead of the address or MLS number, you can do an address like 624 Williams. Now, you notice I didn't do W. Williams or Avenue in here. I just did street number, street name. Do not type in the street direction or type. Just number, name. And when you do that, you get that listing also that way. Now, if you don't know the street number and you just know it's the street name, Lisa, you said, is that for MLS numbers only? No. And and every time I show that, and I'm laughing, Lisa, because as soon as I show that, everyone's always saying, well, can you do this? Can you do that? And all that extra stuff out there. So that's why I'm kind of laughing, because there's a lot you can do in here. I'm going to show you that. You can just do street name. So as I do my search for Williams here, now I'm getting everything on Williams. Williams Street, Williams Avenue, Williams Way, I think it was, Williams Place. And you notice it did all statuses here. And I like to see, and if Stan's still here, I like us to add the field called property type. Now, Stan, I think I might have told you I was going to ask about that. I didn't. So if you could put that on your notes, add the field property type here. Because I can't tell if these are residential or multifamilies or condos here. So now for you guys, if we didn't do this, I am going to show you that you can add your own fields to this list here. Okay, so even if we don't add it, or if we do add it and you don't like it, you can take it out. So remember that when I jump into the results section part here. So here you can notice I got 138 listings on Williams. Well, that's a lot. Well, watch this. If I say Williams space A and hit enter, that's just Williams with active listings on Williams. Okay, I still got a lot of different areas, but now I'm just down to 6 listings here, and that makes it a little easier for me to find that listing. Now you notice I still didn't get that one listing because it wasn't active. But if I do a C in here for contingent, space P for pending, if I do my search, there it is. It was a contingent listing at 624 Williams. So street name, A, C, and P. And I could have done this. I could have done ACP space Williams. So the order does not matter. You can do it either way. Now, the order does matter if I do multiple statuses. I have to put those all following each other. Now, it doesn't have to be ACP. It could have been C, A, and P, as long as there's a space or a comma between them, and I'll still get them. The thing I cannot do is do a C, and then Williams, and then do an A, and then do a P. So now I'm separating all my statuses with street name in the middle there. So that's the only order that matters, is if you do multiple statuses, they have to follow each other. Now, I don't think I can do, let me try this here. I don't think I can do Williams space Maple and do 2 streets, okay? And it didn't look like it found it for me. So I can only do 1 street at a time here. Now, when I was under my search residential, remember I can do multiple streets here. Okay, so I could do Williams, Maple, Market, whatever street here, First Street or things like that. So you can do multiple streets here, just not in the speed bar. You can't do multiple streets there. Now, what else can you do in the speed bar? Well, I showed you can do A for active. You can do res for residential. You can do C and D, I think it is, for condos. After res, you can do Troy for Troy, Ohio. Or you could do 701 space 702 space 703. Instead of the city name, you could have done, instead of the area numbers, you could do zip codes, 45373. And you can do multiple zip codes in there. You cannot do subdivisions. You cannot do school districts in there, okay? This is a speed bar, but you cannot do everything in there. Some of the things you'll have to do is by your regular search, okay? Let's see, so I can do 45373, 45377, space. Then I can say $, 100-200, which is my price range, 100,000 to 200,000. I could say 100 plus for 100, for 100,000 or greater, or 100,000 or minus. And remember, if I only leave 100 up there, that just means 100,000. Now it is predetermined behind the scenes that when you do a search up here, it is in thousands. So don't do this because that'll be 100 million. Okay, do like that, but don't forget your plus, your minus, or your range. Very important. You can also do 3 plus, 2 plus. Now this order matters because this is beds and baths. This is beds and total baths, not full baths, total baths. So if I do my search, you're going to notice I get active listings, I get residential properties, and I get that zip code there, 100,000 to 200,000. And notice my bedrooms are 3 or more bedrooms and 2 or more total baths. So you notice I got 2 and no half baths, 2 and 1/2 baths. And if I scroll down, I might find some 3s in here. I might find some 2.5 baths. See, there's a 3.5 bath right there. Okay, so I just want to show you that there. You can do square feet up here also. You can do like 2,000-3,000. Oop, I need thousands here. But with square feet, after you type that in, oop, I need a space in here. See the 2 plus? I need to do space SQFT. And now do my search. That's square feet. So notice my square footage is between 2 and 3,000 square feet. Now, acres you can do up here. But if you hover over that question mark right here, see that little question mark right there? It says click for speed bar search samples. So by clicking on that, here's some examples of the speed bar you can do. So you always have this little cheat sheet here for you, and you can do stuff here. But play with this. Some people, you know what, it's too complicated. Well, use it just for MLS numbers or street addresses. You don't have to do it as fancy as I did right here. But I really like this. I use this all the time up there for my search. Something else you can do up here. Let me take this out. You can do AG, Smith. And that will find all the agents, all the members of RIST with the, and when I hit search, with the either the first name of Smith or last name of Smith. And then here's all the Smiths on here. Now I'm not sure if Gay Smith was here today or on this webinar. I think she was on one of them, either today's or last 2 days ago. But if I click on her user ID here, you can see, I love her picture there. I think that's a great picture there. You can see her name and information, email address, phone numbers, and I can see her active listings right here if I click on that. Okay, so there you go, Gay. I'm giving you some promotions here, promoting your listings there. So that instead of AG, you can do OFF, and that's office. And here you can do all the HER realtors offices, and then you can just click on one of them here and see all their agents, all their branch offices, and all their active listings for that one in Troy. Okay, so so I just want to show you. Now you could have went to search and done an agent search this way or an office search that way, but this is just using that speed bar up here. Okay, over here we got recent searches. If I open up recent searches, this is a list of This is a list of all your recent searches. Now, recent means in the last 2 weeks. So if a search gets older than 2 weeks ago, it'll drop off this list. But we remember up to 50 of your most recent searches, which is really handy. Fusion never had anything like that. Here, as you hover over, it just kind of tells you the criteria that you had. Okay. And then here it tells you the time you ran it and how many matches you found. So I think recent searches is really handy to have here. Okay, well, I think that's it for searching tips. Let's jump into the results now. So once you go in and do your search, and I'll just say area 701 and price range of 100 to 200. And now you go to results. Let's talk about this screen, how you can print, how you can email listings, how you can change this grid view around, and all kinds of answers here for you. So this is our next topic here. Well, you'll notice first thing you've got here are your icons. Well, the first one is the photo. So if you click on it, you can see all the photos of the house. And hopefully you've been noticing that when you add listings within Matrix, your photos within Matrix, the quality of photos we're asking for, we allow you to do much higher quality photos. So here you notice it's taking up the entire box and it's much better to look at. And that's because I clicked on one of these 400,000 MLS numbers, which is a newer listing in Matrix. The ones in the 300s were listings that came over from the old system. So I'm guessing if I open up a photo here, it's not going to be as big. See all the white space here? So moving forward, photos will get better and better quality photos. Now, if this was my listing and I added the photos previously from Fusion and I wanted to take up the entire box, I'd probably have to go and delete these photos and re-add these photos. Then they'll take up the new box. But until I do that, it's just using the quality size of Fusion, and that's why it's not as big there. Now, I don't have to do that. I only do that if I want it to be a bigger photo here. And if you notice in Matrix now, instead of, let me open this photo up here, instead of up to 25, 26 listings or photos, I think it was 25 photos, 26, I can't remember. Anyways, we can now add up to 100 images for a photo. I don't know if you know that or not, but you can add up to 100. Now, I think 100 is a lot of images to add, but you can do that there. Here next is the map. So whatever property you see, you can open up and see the map view. Now this is set at automatic. Automatic means as you zoom out, it's going to be the map view. As you zoom in, it changes to more of a satellite view. And as you get closer, it'll become a bird's eye view. But if you hover over this, you can change it. So you know what? I always want it to be the road view. Or I always want it to be the bird's eye view. No matter how far back I go, I want it to be that satellite view. But I do like it on automatic here. So, so as I zoom in on this, you'll notice that we have the parcel boundary lines on for you. What this means is if you click on that parcel, that property, you can see the owner's name and the address here. So no matter what property you click on, you see the owner's name and the address here. If you click on lot dimensions, we show you the lot dimensions of that property or of any property that you're on. Just click on lot dimensions there. And it's getting this lot dimensions from Realist out there because Realist is integrated within Matrix here. Okay. Now, let me close this down here. So how I got there was just by clicking on that MLS or that the map icon right there. And then I just zoomed in and I clicked on the parcel ID. Now, if this property that I pulled up, if Google has drove by the street and did a Google Street View, we show you the Google Street View. If it's like a newer subdivision, well, Google may not have drove by there yet, but now I can click on Google Street View and see the Street View here. And your clients can do this also. So when you email listings to your clients and they open it on their portal, they can see the Google Street View too. Now I will say that they can see the map of the listings, but your clients cannot click like you can right here and see the owner's name and address, and they cannot click on lot dimensions. So that's only a feature for you to have, but everything else you see here, your clients can do too. So they can see the Google Street View if available. Now what you can do, let's say this is your listing. You can fix this Google Street View if you don't like the way it is, because you notice it's got a lot of space up here. What you could do, if this is your listing, you can move this up a little bit more, and it looks like Google went by on trash day there, and fix this view. In fact, sometimes you'll have trees that are blocking the view, so what you could do is scoot down a little bit and look at that Google Street View at a little different view, a little different angle. In fact, maybe down this way a little bit. Okay. Now this is not where you fix that Google Street View. Okay. So if this is my listing, I don't fix it here. I'll show you when I get into listing tips and uploading photos and stuff like that. But as you know, let's say a client, a public, or let's say someone like another realtor, I can move this around. And sometimes when Google does this, they'll actually put the listing here in between that two houses here. So that's kind of where I might need to fix this here. So sometimes Google Street View will actually have it on back behind you here. So you can do it that way there too. Okay. So I'll show you that when I get in the listing, but I just want to show you the Google Street View there. Okay. After that, you notice we got the MLS numbers here. If you scroll over to the right, we got more icons over here, such as the history. We got these paper clips or the attachments, so you can click on it and see the attachments for that property. If I click on the history, you notice you can see the history of that property there. You can move these icons way over here. Okay, so you can put the icons where you like them at. And this is where I'm going to get into adding an address and stuff here. Okay, I'm going to scroll over, and you've got all these things you can move over. Okay, so there you go. You just drop it where you like it at. Okay, we got tax. So this black part here is just, it takes you in a real list, it takes you to the tax records. Okay, so there you see the tax records for that, and just close down that box there. Okay, now if you want to add more fields to this, let's say you want to add that property type here, or you want to get rid of, let's say, units here, you can just click on it. Now, let me close this down here. Now be careful, because if I click on this right here, that's going to give me the address, so, or sort it for me. So if I click on address, it sorts it alphabetically for me. If I click it again, it sorts it the opposite way. And if I click on square feet, it sorts it lowest to highest. Click it again, it's going to be highest to lowest. And you can do a lot of fields this way, sorting them by. But I don't want to sort it, I want to move it. So I need to grab it where there's the 4 arrows. And sometimes, like with beds, I have to come below or above. But then if I hold down my left mouse button, I can drag it and drop it where I want it at. Okay, so that's how I move that field. What I can do is, when I get those 4 arrows, is just click, and now I can remove that column. And now that column's gone. If I click up here again, I can, instead of removing that column, I can insert a new column right here. And now is where I can add that property type field and apply it. And there it is, residential. Now I can grab it and move it and drop it where I like it at. Okay. let's see here. Now you can also notice there's a lot of space here in between the end of the address and where it picks up. Now you can grab this here and move this over and put it where you like it at. But I like a better solution here. Excuse me. If I click on that, I can auto fit. And I can even left, right, or center it or wrap the line here. But I want to auto fit. So by hitting auto fit and then hitting apply, you're going to notice it snaps it to the longest street name right here, and that's auto fit. Notice there's a lot of wasted space here, so if I click on it, I can say auto fit, and it changes that number there. And no matter what search I pull up, it's automatically going to fit. Same thing with garage. Notice how much wasted space here. So if I come up here, I can say auto fit, hit apply, and now it just kind of makes everything much more condensed. Same thing with office number and sold price. Just make it auto fit here. Now, once you start doing all this, you start adding all of your fields and maybe taking fields out like sold price here. Remove that column. Once you do that, you're going to want to lock it down. You're going to want to save it, because if you don't save this, it will be gone the next time you come in and do a search. So up here is the agent single line. So if I follow this over, I can change it to from 25 listings per page to maybe just 10 or 50 or 100. But here's a piece of paper where it says Manage Display. So under Manage Display, I can come up here and give it a name, and let's just call it Single Line. And then I can say Save as a Copy. And now you see it's called My Single Line. I didn't have to put the word My in there, because every time I create a search, it automatically puts My and a colon there, and then it's whatever name. So you can see I already have another My Single Line. Now if I have multiple ones and I want to get rid of one, well, pick the one I want to get rid of, hover back over that piece of paper, click on it, and because it's mine, I can delete that single line. So when I hit delete, hit OK, and it's gone. Now I still have my original, or the other one I just created called mine. But every time right now, so I've got it here, but still I might want to use this little friend of ours, the wheel, and set it as my default. Because if I don't, every time I run my search, it's going to pull up the original single line, not my single line. So I need to make sure if this is the one I want to appear every time I do a search, residential search, use my little friend here and set that current display, the order that listings are sorted in, and how many count per page as my starting search default. So clicking on that, this is now my default and not what Risk told me it had to be. Okay. Now I'm going to hover back over that wheel, and I'm going to reset it back to the way it was. But that's how you can create your own default views in grids. So hopefully that answers it. And feel free to chime in on the questions. And I do appreciate not a lot of questions, but I don't mind a few of them. That just lets me know that you're still watching and paying attention here. So so that's there. You can actually rename some of these here. If I click on address up here, instead of address, I can call it maybe street address and hit apply. So garages, beds, baths. Instead of baths, I could click on it and maybe call it total baths or something like that. Total baths. Now that's getting kind of long. I don't think I'd recommend that for baths up here, because now you'll notice I have to make this bigger and the field is really small here. Okay. Okay. Now if I select some listings here, you notice we have this action bar, we call it a button bar at the bottom. The first one, it says action, and then refine, and then save, and then carts. Action is where I can pick those 4 listings and I can email them, those 5 listings, to whoever I want. I can start typing in someone's name here and click on it, or I can hit the 2 box and pick them this way and find them. And if my client's not in here, I can add them real quick to my contact list. I could type in someone else who's not even in my contact list. I can line carbon copy me or not, subject, email body. I do have email signature. Now, there is a section, I'll probably talk about this at the very end during our question and answer section. If you have not set up your signature, and you're also going to see here later when I get into the client's portal, there's going to be a little banner here. Actually, you're going to see it next when I go into printing. You can print a little banner at the top of your pages. You're going to need to set that up, so just remember that, and I'll show you how to set that up near the end here. Okay. Actually, you can set your signature up right here. If you're only seeing your first and last name, you can go up here and modify it right here. And then you can preview this email, how it's going to look, or you can hit send and send it to the clients. I'm going to hit cancel here. Now, there's actually 2 ways to email. If you don't know this, there's 2 ways to email. So you can select those listings, and under action, you can hit email, which emails those listings to your clients in the portal view. But if you don't want to email those listings to your client in the client's portal, you can actually email it to them by using the print button. I don't know if you know that or not. So under the print button, obviously I can print these 5 listings in a detail view, in a client view, but now remember, you can't email, well, you shouldn't, put it this way, you should not email a client an agent detail view. Okay, you should only email clients a client detail view. But once you click on it, not only can you print it down here, but you can email it to your clients in those 5 listings in that client detail view. Okay, so there is an email option here. Now, I just want to print these listings. So I select those 5 listings, and I go down to prints. So when I hit print, now over here I have this header and footer up here. Let me take this off here. We have 2 print options. If I had my way, and I think Stan agrees with me, the print the PDF is the better option. I kind of wish we would move switch these 2 around, because this print button uses your browser's printing. We don't have much control if you do that print button. So try it both ways. Print off some listings in the print, and then try those same listings in the print the PDF. Some of you may not see much difference, okay? But I do think you'll have better results, cleaner results, if you use the print the PDF option here. Okay, but try it both ways. And if you do print this way and you're having problems, then try it this way. And if you're still having problems both ways, it might be your browser. Now I'm using Internet Explorer. No, I'm using Chrome here. So if I'm having problems printing these 5 listings this way or this way, try it with Internet Explorer or Edge or Safari or Firefox, and that might, because the problem might be with your browser. So, and if it's after hours or during the weekends and we're not here to help you, Stan and I or the help desk is not here to help you, try it that way, and then you can always call us or the help desk on, normal business hours, and we can figure out why. But chances are the problem is not Matrix. Chances are the problem is with something with your browser. Might have gotten updated or changed or tweaked or something like that. So try it in a different browser. But I really encourage you to print listings using the PDF, not the print button. But try it both ways and you decide. So if I have those 5 listings and I see the client detail view, if I hit print button, print the PDF, it's going to give me a little preview of this. here. Okay, you notice it looks like that. But let me close this down. If I say use my header and footer with those client detail view, now I hit print to PDF. Now it's going to put a little banner here at the top for me. It's going to give it a little more professional look than if it was kind of boring before. Now I've got my little branding here as I print this out. Okay. Now if you don't have this set up yet, watch this near the end. I will show you how to go into your information and update this. Put your picture, make sure we've got your correct name and information on here. Okay, so stick with us there. So I just want to show you, you can say with header or not with header here. If now you can hold down a control button and do one agent detail and one client detail here and print them two at one time here. Now you notice when I pick on agent detail, I get all these options over here. Under the regular client detail, I don't have it. We have a special setup when you click on agent detail. Now what you can do is not just print that listing, but print the property history, the matching property history, which means multiple times it's been listed, or just this one time history, or photos, or open house and tours. Now, watch this. This is a current issue that should be fixed here rather soon. A lot of times people come in here and say, you know what, I don't want to print everything here. So they uncheck it here, and if they do that and they go to print, they're going to have nothing here to print. You know why? Because when you unselected that, it got rid of everything, including the listing option here. So be careful when you do this. You might want to just take away these and leave the listing history here. Okay, and then when you go and print, it's only going to have that history and not all the other stuff there. I mean that report, listing report, not all the history and open houses there. Okay, what we're going to fix in the future is when you click on this, the problem is that it selects it and has everything selected here. Okay, well, we're going to fix it by when you select it, the only thing that's going to be here will be the listing. And then you will have to say, I want this, 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 and this. Because right now, when you pick it, we assume you want everything. And people don't always catch that. So when you go and hit print, they don't realize it's printing not just the reports, but it's going to print the multiple photos, the open houses, the history. So as I scroll down here, you notice, see, there's the history, there's the photos, and people like, oh no, I didn't want that. It's printing so much. And that's been generating a lot of calls. So we do know about that. So I'm just making sure I emphasize that. So hopefully that will be fixed soon to where you have to purposely pick that. Otherwise you don't get them. Okay? Okay, so use the print PDF, don't use the print. So you got email PDF there. Back to results here. So that's the email and that's the print. I will get into CMAs later. There is a quick CMA here and there's stats here. You can export these listings, listing information out if you need to. There is driving directions. So if you pick 6 or 7 houses, you can hit directions and it's going to put them in the best driving order for you. And if you scroll down, you're going to see those 7 houses turn by turn by turn. Okay, and like I said, it's in the best driving order for you. It'll even tell you estimated drive time with current traffic conditions. It's going to take you that long. You can add a starting spot like your office and a stop. And then if you add a start or stop, you're going to have to hit directions again and have it recalculate. And you can email this, print this. And if you know a better way to get there or you want to customize it, just grab them and you can create your own order here. Now if you do move that around, you're going to have to hit directions again and it recalculates it for you. Okay? So it's almost very similar to Fusion's driving directions with the exception that it puts it in the best driving order for you. But you can always modify that there. Okay, that's the actions. Now if I pick 7 houses out of 29, I don't want to see the other 22 listings. So a very common question that we get a lot is, how do I hide the other 22? Well, under refine, I can hit narrow. And if I hit narrow, now I'm only seeing the 7, not all 29 here. Now, above where it says narrowed original results, above that, here's one way I can go back to my original results is by clicking on that. Or I can use my back button, and that takes me back to all 29. So I can select the 7, and I can say narrow, or I can say discard. Maybe I picked those 7 houses because I don't like those 7 houses. So I can hit discard, and now I'm just looking at the 22, not the 29. Now with discard, I actually get an undiscard button here, and it brings them back. I kind of wish we had a narrow and an unnarrow button, but until we, put that there, you have to use that back button like I showed you there. So that's your refine, narrow and discard. Hopefully that helps you there. I'm about to show you save here in a minute. When I finish this part here, you can save this here. And carts. Carts, you can pick the listings that you like. Let's say I'm going to go show these 3 listings to John and Susan today. Well, what I can do is I can pick those 3 listings, and I can throw that into John and Susan Smith right here into their cart. You notice they already have 5 listings in their shopping cart. A shopping cart or a cart is like a folder. It's like a file folder for them. So what I can do, I can add 3 more. So every time I show them more and more properties, I keep adding it to their carts. So I hit this add to cart, and it's going to add those 3 listings to their 5. And now they have, the reason why they have 6 and not 8, because I think I already had some, see right up here, 2 were already there, okay? So, so it only added 1 more to my list there. So that's shopping carts. So I think that's pretty cool there. Now if I want to see those carts later, like let's say John and Susan call me up and they say, have we ever seen that house on Waterbury? I can't remember. Did you show it to me or not? Well, if I go up to My Matrix and I click on Contacts and I go down to John and Susan Smith here, I can open their cart right here. In fact, there's a column right here that says carts. It shows me how many listings are in each person's cart. See, they got 6 listings in their cart. I can either hit open cart here or hit that 6, and I can see those 6 listings that are in their cart. And it tells me if I've emailed it to them or not emailed it to them, which is pretty cool too. Okay. I think that's everything. Let me go back to my searches again. I think that's everything on this display. I can change it from single line to a detail view. And now you're just looking at 1 listing at a time. So now I can just scroll over next, 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 and look at them. I can click on the photo itself and scroll through and look at the photos. Notice I still have the icons up here. And this last one up here is a report an error. Okay, so if I see data error in here, and I might need to say, look, is this wrong? It wasn't built in 1955. It was built in 1966 or whatever. Whatever information you see might be wrong, you can report that, and it'll send a listing to the MLS or an email to the MLS, and they'll look it up. I do want to mention that there's 2 new icons here. One is for property panorama. Well, that's not really new, I don't think, but this one here is new. Flyer Maker Pro. FM is Flyer Maker Pro. Let's see. Let me go back to my single line. I want to see if we have it over here. Yeah, see over here. Flyer Maker Pro. What that means is if I want to print this listing out and I don't like any of these flyers here, I can hit the Flyer Maker Pro, and what this will do, it'll take me into this new program. Okay, I thought it was set up already, but it's a brand new program, so we might need to look at this here. But it's a neat program where you can go in and have all kinds of different flyer layouts and stuff like that. It makes it look very professional, and it's a free service to everyone that just comes to you. So we might have more information on that later, and maybe even a little short video on that later, so look out for that. But as I change this here, that's what that FM one is. It takes you into a Flyer Maker Pro. So it's brand new, and I think that's why I got that error message here. I think we're still tweaking it a little bit there. Okay. Okay, our next one is saving searches. Now, I know it's been almost an hour and a half. Each of these next topics goes a little faster for us here. So saving searches. So the save a search for a client. Now under my matrix, you notice we have auto emails and save searches. Okay, let me explain the difference. Hopefully you know the difference, but these are both searches that are saved. These are active searches. These are inactive searches. I almost kind of wish we could rename them to say active searches, inactive searches, because people see the word auto email and they don't see the word search in there, so they don't think it's a search, but it is. It's an active search. It's a search that's actively auto emailing new matches to your clients every day. These are not. Okay, so if I want to save a search, let's say I got a new client here, Larry and Sally Jones, okay, and I want to do a new auto prospecting search for them. Well, my first step doesn't have to be this, but it could be this. My first step is go to My Matrix, Contacts, and then down here at the bottom I could add Larry and Sally Jones to my list and put their email in here and more information. Okay, so that could be your first step, but you don't have to be that. That doesn't have to be your first step. Next, you do have to do this step though. You do have to go to do a search. Pick on your property type that you like for them. I'll pick on residential. Type in your criteria, let's say 701. Let's do a price, 100-150. And I could do beds and baths, but that's fine. I'm going to go to results. Now that I got my results here, I want to come down here. I want to save this search for Larry and Sally. Now, when I hit save, you notice save it as a saved search or save it as an auto email. So see, they're both being saved. This is an inactive search. That is an active search. And yes, you can even save it as a speed bar shortcut. I won't talk about that today unless you have questions. Maybe during the question and answer, I can answer that. But you'll notice that when I hit save as a new saved search, it only asks me to give it a name and who is it for. There's no action to it. It's not auto prospecting. So I don't want that for them because I want them to get auto updates every day. So when I save this as a new auto email, now it says, okay, who is it for? Do I want to get a blind carbon copy of this? Do I want to put what do I want to name this search? And here's all the action, how often it goes out and things like that. So Larry and Sally are not in my contact list. So I can add them right here if they're not. So here I can hit create a new contact, and it's like a little shortcut back into my client list. And now I can type in Larry and Sally Jones here, okay? And then I can type in their email address. Now you notice they have to have an email address. So you got two options. If they don't have an email address, you could give them your email address, or I kind of like to make up one, larry@noemail.com. Because the system will think, hey, that's a good email address, so I'll take it. But it's not really a good email address. I see the word no email there, and it reminds me, oh, they don't have an email address. When I do this, see back here in the background, I can still blind carbon copy me on these emails. So I don't need to give them my email address, but I have to give them something here. If I take this out, you notice you can do up to 5, well, you can do multiple email addresses separated by a comma, and 5 is the max in here. So I'll just go back and I'll just type in larry@something.com. Here's the salutation, hi, hello, dear, or type in my own salutation. I can hit show all fields, and I can type in address, phone numbers, notes. Up here I can even do additional names like kids' names and stuff out there, okay? So if I scroll down, now what I can do is hit save, and it saves that there, okay? Do I want to blind carbon copy me or not? That's up to you if you want to receive. I think in the beginning you should. Next, you give it a subject. Okay, well, this is for Larry and Sally. Well, Larry and Sally might have 3 or 4 different searches, so I'm going to give this a name. I'm going to call it Troy Single Family Residential, and I'll put that in there. Because there are other search, could be in Tip City, it could be in Piqua, it could be land or investment properties or mobile homes, things like that. So I'm going to give it a name there. Then you got a welcome message and a recurring message. So the welcome message is the default message that Larry and Sally will first get when they open this up. And it's just a little information that says, hey, I created a new portal for you. Please click on the link below. There will be a link here at the bottom. Okay. Now, once they open this email, they won't see this welcome email again unless you do another search for them. But after they see that, all future ones will be this recurring message here. Now this one is just something really simple. It says, hey, we found new matches. Click on it and go look at it. Okay. If you don't like our message here, you can take this out and type in your own message. And if you like your message instead of our message, there's that little friend again down here, the setting, the cog wheel, setting wheel. You can click on that and set that as your default message, and we'll use your message instead of the one Risk told you to had to use. Here's the reset button. I'm going to just reset it back to the way it was. Same thing with this welcome message. If you don't like this message, you can take it out and then make sure you hit that setting wheel and set your message here too. And it'll be used just not for Larry and Sally, but for anyone out there that further in the future. Next, you'll notice that we have a signature here. Here's your signature. If you haven't customized it already, here's a backdoor way into customizing it, but I will show it to you here in a bit. Next, you come down here. Do I want Larry and Sally to get this as soon as possible? As soon as it finds a new match, send it to them. Or just do it once a day in the morning, or once a day in the evening, or twice a day, okay, or once a month. Now, there is this thing called a concierge mode, okay? What you can do with the concierge mode is, and watch what happens when I hit the concierge mode. Pay attention to my schedule down here. If you do not want Larry and Sally to get this, you want to get it first before they do, then you're going to enable the concierge mode. When you enable the concierge mode, there is no schedule because it does not go to Larry and Sally. It will alert you, Matrix will alert you on the home page automatically as new matches are found. And with the check mark there, we'll also email you when there is a new property to be looked at on your home page here. Okay, I love the concierge mode, but it's not for everyone. Okay, because sometimes you say, you know what, just send it to them. Send it to them ASAP. Let them look at it. Let them reject it or save it if they like it. Because the concierge mode does require a little extra effort on my part. I have to go in and I have to approve them or reject them there, okay? So most cases what I do when I save a search, and I'm going to do it here in a second, is, you know what, just send it to them ASAP or once or twice a day. But if I want to look at it before it goes to them, then I would enable the concierge mode. But for Larry and Sally, I'm just going to say, ASAP, and I'm going to save it. Now, they just got an email, and it was just sent them that welcome message. And if I go up here under My Matrix, under Auto Emails, you can see for, I thought I just did, oh, right, I'm sorry. I'm looking right past it here. Larry and Sally Jones. See right there that now they have an auto email, and it's going out. Now, I'm going to come right back and tell you about these color codes here. Okay, so there's Larry and Sally, their search. I can also go up to My Matrix Contacts and click on Jones. Man, I'm just missing this again here. Oh, right here, Larry and Sally Jones, right underneath Stan's name here. If I click on Larry and Sally, see there's an auto email here. If I click on it, there it is, that same auto email that I just saved here. Okay. But let me go back out to the home page. If I had said yes to that concierge mode, then Larry and Sally's name would be out here. Okay, but I did not do that. So if you do say yes to the concierge mode, you then get this little widget on your home page. If you do not have this widget on your home page, that means you do not have a concierge search in a concierge mode. So if I had said yes to that, like I did here with Jay or John, I can see that I've got 10 listings for Jay that need my approval. And John has 5 listings that are waiting for my approval. Jay will never see these 10 listings until I look at them and approve them. So at my convenience, I click on that, and here are those 10 listings waiting for my approval. Now, Jay is looking for houses with white kitchen cabinets. I cannot search the MLS for white kitchen cabinets. So what I have to do is send it to myself in the concierge mode and go through and look at the pictures and see if the listing agent, see, they do have white kitchen cabinets. So guess what? I have to select it and approve it. Once I approve it, boom, now it's down to 9 listings, and that one is sent to Jay's portal, and now he can see it. If this one on Ridgeway does not have white kitchen cabinets, I would select it and I would reject it. And now I'm down to 8 listings out there. So what I could do is go down this list, and let's say this one, and this one have white kitchen cabinets. So I'd select those 3 and approve all 3 at one time. And now I'm down to 5. Let's say these 5 do not have white kitchen cabinets. So I could select them and I could reject them. Now, if Jay changes his mind a week later, a month later, 2 months later, 3 months later, he comes back and he realizes I'm not emailing him a lot of listings because they don't have white kitchen cabinets. He might come back and say, you know what, just send me anything, because I guess we can always paint those cabinets white ourselves. I really didn't want to do that, but we could. Well, Fusion, we didn't keep track of the ones you rejected. Matrix, we keep track of the ones we've rejected. So after a couple of months or 3 months or however long it is, I can look at the ones I have rejected as long as they're still available. Because I might have rejected 50 houses, but there's only 26 that are here because the other 24 are no longer available. Okay? Because now they're sold or contingent or expired, or maybe they dropped out of his price range out there. So as long as they're still available, I can go back through and unselect them, select them and approve them, and now he sees them. So we keep track of the ones, not only the ones that you approve, but even the ones that were rejected also, which I think is cool. And what I could do is I could go to my auto emails. I can go to, see over here it says concierge. I can see I've got 5 for each here. And if I click on white kitchen cabinets for Jay, I can see that there's 5 that I haven't sent yet. There's 5 that I have not made a decision on. I've rejected 26, and I sent him 11, but there's 5 that I haven't made a decision on yet. And I can do that here for, let me go back. I can do that here for John too. If I click on John, I click on the wrong thing, my bad. Don't click on John's name, that takes you into the contact record. Click on the search name here. Let me click on that search, close it up. See, when I click on that Troy search for John, you can see how many I've rejected, how many I sent, and how many I haven't made a decision on yet. Okay? Now what you're seeing here is auto emails. So you can see that I've got some white ones, some green ones, and some red ones. Very festive for Christmas time here. Okay, so when I sent that to Larry and Sally, you notice it's white. It's a white circle. That means the client must click on that first email, that welcome message. They haven't done it yet. So I might want to, they've got 30 days to click on that welcome message. Okay, after 30 days, if they haven't clicked it, it turns red, and that means they have not clicked it and we turned it off. I'm not going to wait 30 days to see if they opened it or not. I'm going to give him a call. I'm going to give Larry or Sally a call and say, Larry, Sally, you haven't opened your email yet I sent to you. Do you want me to resend it to you? Okay, and I can resend it to them. Once they click on it, it becomes green, and that means they have clicked on it. Now they have 80 days to look at this search. Now in Fusion, it was 90 days, I believe. Okay, it might have been longer, I can't remember, but as long as they look at this search one time in 80 days, they will get 80 more days. And then you look at it again, they'll get 80 more days. So Fusion, it would expire no matter what at the end of that time period. In Matrix, as long as they're looking at it one time in 80 days, it will never expire. Okay? Now, as the time gets closer to that 80 days, we will send you a message saying, hey, they haven't been there recently, and we're about to turn it off, so just a heads up. And then on the 80th day, we do shut it off, and it'll say not active, but it'll be in red here, and it'll say disabled due to inactivity because the client hasn't been there in 80 days, so we turned it off for you. Now, if it does get, well, let me show you that here in a second. Let's say Larry and Sally are getting these emails. They've opened it up, but something happened. You know, there's the loss of a job. There's a situation they're going through, and it's not a good time for them right now to look for a house. You know, holidays are coming up. Maybe they want to take a little time out here. Well, what you could do is you could put a check mark here, and you could delete it, but that's going to be a permanent delete. And if they want you to start it back up, you're going to have to recreate that search all over again. So I wouldn't delete it unless you completely want to get rid of it. But if you want to temporarily pause it, you can hit the disable button. When you hit disable, it'll ask you, are you sure? And if you hit OK, it's going to be paused. It's going to have a little red exclamation point, and you can see here it says disabled by the agent. Okay. Now, when they're ready to start back up, beginning of the year, the holidays is over. To turn it back on, just click on it, go to settings, and then when you scroll down, you can enable it. When you click on enable and you hit save, it's turned back on. It's a white circle again, so we're waiting for them to click that welcome message again, but now it's turned back on. Now let's have another situation. Let's say Larry and Sally bought a house. Do I still want to keep sending them new matches? Okay, show them what they could have bought if they would have waited a little longer, which I don't think you want to do. So here you've got the same two options. You actually have a third option now. What I could do is, now that they bought a house, I could put a check mark and delete it, and it's gone. Okay, a lot of realtors do that, and I don't see a problem with that. I don't like doing that, and I don't like this second option. I don't want to disable it. Now, disable would stop it forever and ever until I start it up again. but it keeps it in my auto email section. I kind of want to keep this section clean of ones that I'm actively working with or maybe just paused here. If I know that I'm done with them, but I want to hold on to this search for future references, let's say a year or 2 years comes down the line, and let's say they I'm just kind of curious, or they call me up and you could say, oh yeah, remember 2 years ago I did that search? Well, here's your criteria that I use for it there, so I'm just holding on to it. Or let's say 2 months from now someone calls me up, Peggy calls me up and she wants to do a search, and I say, you know what, that sounds just like the search I did for Larry and Sally. Maybe that search that I did for Larry and Sally, maybe it had a map, and I spent a lot of time getting that map right. I don't want to have to draw that map again. I just want to use that same search that I did for Larry and Sally, but this time use it for Peggy or whoever. So that's why I might want to hold on to these searches for future cases. So I don't want it to be an auto email anymore. I want it to be a saved search. Remember the difference? These were active, these were inactive. Well, I don't want it to be an auto email, an active search, but I do want to hold on to it, but I want to move it into the inactive searches. So watch this. I've got 10 auto emails, and one of them is for Larry and Sally, and it's called Troy, single family, 100 to 150. If I click on it and go to settings, there's a little magic button right up here that will turn this auto email into a saved search, or in other words, it'll turn this active search into an inactive search. So by clicking on that, it now says, okay, what do you want to call it? I'll call it the same thing, Troy, single family, 100-150. Still for Larry and Sally, but I'll save it. Look at this. I only have 9 auto emails. That one for Larry and Sally is now gone. Where did it go? It's up. It is now not there. It is now here under Save Search. If I go to Jones right here, there it is. Larry and Sally search for Troy is right there. Let's say I had a mistake. Let's say I accidentally saved it as a saved search, but I really wanted it to be active. I didn't know about this feature of auto emails, and I accidentally saved it as a saved search. Well, I can click on it, go to settings, and do the opposite of what I just showed you. Now I can turn this inactive search into an active search. Now, when I come down here, give it the same name, Troy, single family, 100, 150. There's my auto emails, my recurring. I can make it a concierge mode or ASAP or daily and save it. Now it is not a saved search anymore for Jones. It is now under auto emails again, right here for them. Okay? And I can still find it if I go to contacts. Either way, I can find it. If I go to contacts and go to Jones, I can see I've got an email here for them. Okay? And I can see there's sent emails that I've sent them out there too. Okay? That is saving searches, auto emails, and stuff like that. Next, and I know we're getting tighter on time, Hotsheets, which shouldn't take that long to do. Hotsheet and market watches, they're almost the same. They're kind of, they could work in tandem with yourself if you like here. So with the Hotsheet or market watch, if you're going to use either one, you need to customize them first. Customize them first. If you don't customize them and you click on it, you see the entire MLS of listings, price changes, status changes. So I encourage you to hit Customize, pick your property type, and remember cross property is all property types at one time. I'm just going to do a residential one. I'm going to pick on residential, and then I'm going to hit Edit Criteria. Now I can say, you know what, I just want new listings for Miami County. Okay, and hit save. Keep it real simple. Now once I do that, I might want to rename that one and call it residential, maybe just res, let's shorten this here, res dash new listings Miami CO. Okay. Now I might want to do another residential one, but for Clark County. But you notice I only had one residential one up here. Well, I can hit add another residential one, and hit save. Now I've got another residential hot sheet, but this time let me edit this criteria and say new listings, but this time for Clark County, and save it. I might want to rename this one too, just like I did before, and call it res dash Clark, or new listings, I'm sorry, new listings Clark CO, and save it. Now what I can do is move this one up, put it right next to there. Now if I don't use cross property, I can highlight it and delete it. If I don't do industrial commercial, I can highlight it and delete it. And same thing with farm and land and all these other ones here. Okay. Let me do a third one here. I can hit add residential. This time I'm going to modify it. This time I'm going to pick active. In fact, I'm going to leave this blank. I want all statuses. I want all types of changes here. This time I'm going to pick Clark and Miami and do it together. But all statuses. So if I leave it blank, I'm doing every type of change. Not statuses, but the change type. So if I save it here, this I could rename and do res and do Clark and Miami and save it. And then move it up and put it there. So you got several variations you can do on your hot sheet here. This one's just for new listings, Miami County, new listings Clark, and Miami here. Now if I go up here, I can say today, 24 hours, 3 days, 7 days. If I pick custom and then I click on one, it gives me my date range to run it. So I can go back up to 30 days to do this. Or I could pick this and do a time range for today only though, between 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock today. Okay. But I'm just going to say 24 hours. So if I click on new listings here, there's only 2 new listings in the last 24 hours for Miami. If I click on Clark, there are 5 listings in Clark County that are new listings. If I pick on this one, I'm going to get 30, and this is all types of changes in both counties here. So you can see I got a lot there. Now, the market watch. If I use my residential, here you only have one property type. And if I do customize here, what I could do is pick Clark. Since I only have one residential, I might want to pick the counties that I always work in, Clark and Miami, and save it. Now that I customize this here and I got residential, you notice this is more visual. Here I can see there's 7 new listings in Clark and Miami. Just by looking at it, I can see it. And I can click on it and see those 7 listings. And that was for 24 hours back. Here, I don't even need to click on these 2 because I know there's 7 total. But if I click on the Miami new listings, remember I only had 2? So guess how many Clark has? Should be 5, right? So if I click on it, there's the 5 new listings. So 5 and 2 is 7. So they're working in tandem with each other. Here I only have one residential. Here I have 2 or 3 residentials, but these are broken down. Now I can say solds and look at just the solds. And now here I can switch this and look at the contingents. I can switch this, look at the price decreases and the price increases here. So I used to like the hot sheets and not the market watches. Now I'm kind of liking the market watches, not the hot sheets, but you can kind of do both there. And Danielle, you got it. Can you show us how to pull up our personal listings on a hot sheet? Your personal listings are actually, Danielle, right here. Here's your personal listings under My Listings. So I don't have any active listings, so that's why you don't see this here. But Danielle, under My Listings, you should see your active listings, your pending listings, your sold listings. So does that help you, Danielle? So yours should be right here under My Listings. You don't really need to do that on the hot sheet. With that said, let me click on Customize real quick. Let me edit that criteria. And how can I print those? Yeah, I'll show you that here too. Yeah, the hot sheet is not necessarily for your listings. It's pretty much the entire MLS. Either place, when I click on hot sheets, select them, and hit print right there. And I can print this off. Okay. Same thing with the Market Watch. If I click on new listings here, I can select all, and then I can hit print down there too, or email those. Okay. And I'm sure the same thing happens if I click on My Listings. I can print those too. Does that help, Danielle? I hope so. Okay, thanks for your question, Danielle. Okay, that's the hot sheet. Real quick, we're going to do CMAs, but real quick, I want to show you modifying listings. Or no, I'm sorry, the client portal. Client portal, real quick. Here's John and Susan's here. Don't show pendings. Your active listings, you don't have a box for pending. You don't have an option here for pendings, and you do have a pending listing, Danielle. We could talk to Stan about that. Maybe we could talk to Stan about that, because maybe we could have your actives include. Oh, I see, all in one sheet there. That's a risk decision. We'll have to talk to Stan about that, Danielle, okay? Maybe if you could, give him a call and talk to Stan at the risk office. Maybe that's something we could work out for you and get, okay? I understand your reasoning. I think that makes sense too, okay? I do. Okay, so when I emailed the listings to John and Susan here, you notice here I can see the last time they visited, so keep an eye on every time. So if I keep sending listings to Jay and John, but I never see their name here, they're not looking at this, they're not looking at their listings because it's not showing up here. So I'm kind of wasting my time with Jay and John if they're not looking at their portal. So this tells me who is looking at their portal. And once again, recent means the last 2 weeks. So Jay and John could have looked at it, but it could have been outside of 2 weeks ago. Here's their date range. Here's how many favorites they saved. They left me a note. Excuse me. And if I click on that person right there, that takes me to a back door, and I can take a sneak peek at John and Susan's portal. Now there's actually 2 pages to their portal, the Welcome and the Properties tab. Okay. Now on this Properties tab, the first thing they see is the single line view. They can change the display to a detail view, photo view, brochure, or multi-row view. I kind of like this last one here, the thumbnail view. There's the thumbnail view. I kind of like that one there. Okay. Here's the single line view. And then there's even a split with map gives you a map on one side and a thumbnail view on the other side here. Okay. But whatever view John and Sally leave it at is the view they will always see this at. Now if they come up here, I have 3 searches for them. One for Tip City, and they can look at those searches or results. They can click on their Pickle one and see the matches there. They can click on their Troy one and see the ones there. Or they can open this one up and look at the one email I sent with 5 and another one here they sent with 3 listings here. Okay. Now please encourage your clients to save listings as a favorite. Save them as a possibility here. Or if they don't like these houses, tell them to reject it. And if they reject it, when it gets refreshed, you'll notice they won't be in that list anymore. they'll be over here in the rejected pile. Okay. So that's, and remember once again, you need to have your banner turned on too. And that's something I need to show you here too. Okay. Adding and modifying listing tips. There's something really cool I'm going to show you. When you go and add listings or modify a listing, let me just click on this listing that I have here. If it's an incomplete listing, do you know you can add your photos and your attachments before it goes active? Okay, so you can add your photos and attachments before they go live. While you're adding a listing, well, here's how you can change the prices, schedule an open house here, on here, change it to pending or sold. If you go into, if I go back into its residential part, let's go to the general tab. Please make sure your listings are mapped correctly. You can hit the set lat long manually and move your map to the correct location. Okay, so please make sure your listings are mapped right. Once they are mapped, if available, use that Google Street View right here. That Google Street View will allow you to fix it. Okay, now I think I already fixed this one here, but let's say it was looking like this, or let's say it's kind of in between the two buildings here. Well, I can scoot it down the street, I can zoom in on this, I can get this just right, zoom up or down or however way I like it, because this is my listing. Once I've got it correct, then all I need to do is hit OK, and I just fixed the Google Street View for everyone else out there, public and other agents there. I can go to all these other fields, remarks, showing information there. Let me save it as incomplete here. And then, like I said, even though it's incomplete, I can still add my photos or my attachments. So here's my photos, and I can hit Browse and find all my photos. In fact, if I hold down the control button, I can select all these photos at one time and add them. Then once I add them, I can just click on them, and what I can do, I can rotate them. I can enter a description here, and I think this is great, you guys. Not a lot of people are typing in descriptions on their photos here. I think that's a great thing to do. Then, of course, I can select them, and I can delete those. And then notice here I can do 88 more photos, so I can do up to 100 photos on here, which I think is a lot. Okay, that's some real quick tips on adding and modifying listings. I just want to show you there. And next, CMAs. CMAs, okay? Now, there's two ways to start a CMA. The first way is to go to My Matrix, go to My CMAs, and start a new CMA here. And when you start a new CMA, it takes you to this place where there's all these tabs. Now, you notice they're not turned on because when I go to the second tab, I don't have any pages here. So once I start adding pages, they start getting turned on up here at the top. Now, when I click on comps, there's no comps in here. Now I have to add my comps from a search. This is the one way I could do my CMA. I'm going to hit cancel here though. I'm going to show you the other way of starting a CMA. And by the way, it was the same way as in Fusion too. Do your search first. Go to search, residential, and now do your solds, do your pendings, pick your areas, 701, do your bedrooms, 3, do your total full baths, 2, and I don't want to show you how to search for comps. Hopefully you know how to search for comps, 1400 to 2000. Maybe 2-car garages, maybe single-story houses, and then when you get your results, so you're doing the most important part first. You're searching for comps. Then when you find them, you got to select which ones you think are good comps. So I'm going to pick 3 actives, and I'm going to pick 3 solds. Now I've got this CMA button, which is our full CMA, but I still got that quick CMA here. And a quick CMA just gives me a one-pager with all the calculations. And some of you like just this for your CMA. There you go. your 3 actives and your 3 solds. There is a stats button here you can click on, and then click on tabular, and that shows you your 3 actives, your 3 solds, and all 6 together. But if you click on CMA down here, it's going to take these 6 listings and put them into that CMA. And remember this, I just showed you a second ago. But the thing is, once I pick my client, and let's do Jones, and I go to pages, now we've got a lot of pages here, you guys, that I can add. What I encourage you to do, you probably don't know what these pages look like, so if you just click on the header, it pulls over both cover sheets. Pick on that header, pulls over both pages there. Pick on that header, pulls all those pages over. You pick on this one, pulls all those pages over, and then it pulls that one page over. Now you can upload your own pages here. So down here it says upload custom pages. Okay, so if you don't like our pages, you can add your own pages here. You're going to need to look at these here, so you can't see what these look like until you go to the finish, and then you can pre-approve them, and then you can say, you know what, I don't like that cover sheet, let me take it out. You know what, I like this page, but let me move it up higher in my list. I like the map, I want that one to be higher. So as you move these around and you take them out, once you're satisfied with all these pages that you like, set it as your defaults, and you won't have to do this again. Next, we have a subject page. Here's where I can manually type in my subject property. I can type in the MLS number if I know it, or I can search for it if I don't know it. And if I want to, instead of me manually type it in, I can search the tax records for that subject property. As long as it's in one of the 15 counties that we have, I can search for it and have the tax records auto-populate it for me, which would save me some time there instead of manually do it. But if I manually do it, now I have to come down here and type all that information in that I want for my subject property and even add the photo to it. Then I got a cover sheet on my CMA. Now when I get to comparables, because I went this way, because I already did my search and I already picked my comps, I don't have to search for them now. They're already here. But I can add some more, and I can even add some from a tax search. I can do a tax search and look for some more comps in here. I can do a map. I can map these properties, see where they're mapped at, and I did pick one way up there, which probably not a good comp. I can make my pricing adjustments here. Here's my pricing page. Here's my stats. So based on these stats, I think we should price the house at $99,900. Okay, and then there's a notes section here that I can type in. This is why I think we should list it for $99,900. Okay, and then there's a finish tab here. Finish means I can view the CMA. I can email it out there to them. And here, you notice that I did auto save it here. But what I can do is I can hit that little save CMA button there, and it's saved. And if I hit that, it's going to get rid of my CMA. So you don't want to do that. And then when I go back to my CMAs, you can see that one for Larry Jones or Smith right there that I just did. Okay. So that's a quick thing on CMAs. Now, last but not least is, remember that banner and that email signature? Well, that's under My Matrix, My Information. Clicking on My Information, please check and make sure your information looks good. After you got all this information, go to your banner here, your header and footer. Hopefully you've already done this. If you haven't done this, I'm going to go back here. I've already picked one here, so I'm going to go back and select a different package. If you haven't, pick one of these here. And if you want to, you can create your own and upload your own banner here. That's getting a little more advanced, but Stan and I will be glad to help you with this here. Okay, so I'm just going to pick one, and then I'm going to hit preview. Once I do that, then I can say no photo, or I can say yes, I want to use a photo. Now you probably won't have your photo here yet, but you'll have to go and hit change photo and then you can browse your photo here and find the photo you like. And once you got that, save it. Okay. And then you notice we even give you a print banner too. So not just one for your website or your portal, but for your printing too. Then we give you a mobile banner. So when clients open listings from you on a cell phone, mobile device, you can have this set up here too. So make sure you have this set up also. Then you got a cover sheet, a CMA cover sheet that you could set up with your photo and information. Then we got a portal information that has your information that you want to show to your clients. And here you can say, show off my active listings, give a link to my pendings, my solds, and my office listings. Here, I'll just leave it at those active and my office listings there. Here's your signature, email signature that I talked about. Well, you only have your first and last name here. So make sure you come in and type in your company name, your address, your phone numbers, put sincerely or yours truly up here if you like. And yes, you can add your photo here. Now once you add your photo here, here, or here, put your cursor like next to your name here. See how it's blinking? And then above this font, there's a little box right here called image. If you click on that, you can hit select image, and it pulls down your photo that you've already uploaded, and then you can put a border around it like a size 3. Notice the spacing is right on top of each other, so you can do like a 4, give it a little cushion, and then you can hit OK, and then it puts your photo right there. And then just make sure you save it, and now you get your signature. And this last one is kind of advanced, but there is a website. Fusion gave you your own website also, so if you want to, you could play around and create your own website here. Now, your website will use this banner. That will be the top of your website page, and then the rest of it, it'll fill in with whatever information you type in. And you can put some links here to some other sites there for you. Okay. Whew. Okay, make sure you enable it too, because right now it'll be disabled, but you'll need to enable it there. And your website name will be right there. Okay. Well, yeah, we did win 14 minutes after. I do appreciate those that stuck with me. Most of you did stick with me. I think a few of you dropped off here 10, 15 minutes ago. So I do want to open this up to questions. Anything I may have forgotten, I'll be glad to answer for you. I will post this video out there later. So pass the word around if someone couldn't make it, that this video should be out there hopefully by the end of the day. Like I said, I had some trouble with Wednesdays, and I'm trying to get Wednesdays out there too, posted for you. So hopefully I'll have both of those out there for you there, okay? When you do sign off, when you log off, there will be a survey, a questionnaire for you to let us know if you found this beneficial. If we could do more of these, let us know. And if we can do more of these, what type do you want us to do? You know, a certain specific topic you want us to do, and things like that. So please fill out that survey as you sign off of this webinar. I appreciate it there. Any other questions? Anything else? I do appreciate you guys, your time on here, though. And like I said, I want to make this the best system we can. So, you know, so we can't make it better unless we hear from you guys out there. Okay, all righty. Thanks. Oh, you're welcome, Danielle. Thank you for your questions. I appreciate it. At least I know you were paying attention. No, I'm sure everyone else is paying attention too, but it's always nice to once in a while hear from people. Okay, all righty. Well, I appreciate it, you guys, and thanks for your time today.